Hello there and welcome to The World Now on TVC News. We begin with the United Nations as the world celebrates Environment Day. Secretary General Antonio Guterres has announced the launch of the United Nations Decade on Ecosystem Restoration. It's a global movement, he says, that will bring together governments, businesses, civil society and private citizens in an unprecedented effort to heal the earth. In a recorded message marking the World Environment Day, the Secretary General says, and I quote, "Luckily, the earth is reliant, but she needs our help. We still have time to reverse the damage we have done." And Mr. Antonio Guterres says, I quote, "For the UN Decade on Ecosystem Restoration is a global call to action. It will draw together political support, scientific research, and financial muscle to massively scale up restoration." During her briefing to the World Environment Day virtual event, the head of the United Nations Environment Program, Inga Anderson, says we must strain every sinew to make this decade a success. This is because we must stabilize the climate, protect nature, and stem pollution to create a world of prosperity, equality and peace as foreseen in the Sustainable Development Goals. For more on the World Environment Day, we join now and environmental activist Nnimmo Bassey via Zoom from Port Harcourt. Thanks a lot for joining us at this time. So for you, the clarion call seems to the need to heal the earth after such an interesting 2020 filled with its ups and downs, particularly the impact on the environment. What for you is critical?
Well, I think the theme is very appropriate because we're still in the pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic, which taught the world a lesson about how to relate to the environment, since we all heard that the virus was transmitted from other species to humans. And so this is a clarion call. We've lost so many species. The environment has been so badly damaged. If we don't restore things now, we're running down a very slippery slope, and that could cause serious problems for not just Nigeria but the whole world.
And how can ordinary citizens help in this restoration movement?
Yes, this is an interesting thing because citizens can do things, government can do things, and corporate bodies can do things. The things that we can do as citizens can be as simple as planting a tree. Ensure that you have greenery in your home, don't just cement or concrete everything, everywhere. And then, of course, buy more durable goods. Don't buy things you dispose of with just a single use. For example, plastics. You're going to buy a loaf of bread that is already inside the plastic, and you're asking for another plastic bag, and all these things are thrown into the drains. They end up affecting aquatic ecosystems. And so we have to learn to use and reuse things. And then we have to learn to keep our environment clean, ensure that we have greeneries around us. And of course, don't use toxic chemicals. If you have a garden, you don't use herbicides. You don't use artificial fertilizers. Use compost. We have to go back to nature. This is the whole idea. We cannot restore ecosystems except we go back to nature.
And looking at the message of Mr. Antonio Guterres of the United Nations, he says, thankfully, the earth is very resilient, but still needs our help to reverse all the damage done to it. How do you relate with this position?
Well, just to extend what he said, the fact is that the earth can do without humans. So if we don't change our mode of relationship with Mother Earth, if we keep on trashing nature, nature is going to be so inhospitable for humans. So humans may go extinct, but the planet will remain, the earth will remain. In fact, the earth will flourish. And so what I believe he was saying is that it is the interest of humanity to relate more reasonably with nature, with other species, because we're all interrelated and interconnected. If one species goes extinct, it affects the rest of the species. We're living in a holistic ecosystem. And so actually, it is in human beings' best interest to recognize the fact that we are not the only beings on planet Earth and that others can survive. Mother Earth can survive without us. And so for us to maintain our place on Earth, we have to reconnect to Mother Earth, respecting her natural cycles, ensuring that we don't do things that damage the ecosystems.
And in this clarion call now for global mass action, what is your message to governments of the world, particularly here in Nigeria?
Well, the first thing I would like to tell government is to stop pretending they don't know the root cause of the damage we are seeing in our ecosystems. In Nigeria, we do know the major damage that we have is from the operation of transnational oil companies and even the local oil companies. The level of oil spills and the continuous gas flaring for over 6 decades indicates that we don't recognize the fact that we're damaging the planet and we're killing ourselves. And so that is one thing government have to wake up to, the fact that the rights of nature to maintain her natural cycles must be recognized and upheld.
Tell us further, Nnimmo Bassey, what the world, stands to lose if this advice, these directives year on year aren't heeded at this time.
Well, when we take the World Environment Day as another ritual, a day for meetings, a day for talking, and we don't take action, it just means that we don't recognize that these are days that we should reflect and change our way of doing things. The level of destruction going on in the world today, the level of lack of care. We're having desertification in Nigeria, we're having gully erosions, we're having coastal erosion. Everything is going in negative direction. If we don't take action, we are really in a very dire situation, and it just doesn't make sense. And look at an example, something like simple handling of solid waste. We've not invested enough in handling solid waste. We're not invested enough in handling medical waste. And now we're having a lot of military waste that are very toxic, and we're not handling those things. What are we doing? Do we care at all about where we live? It's like the earth is our home. And if we don't pay attention to the state of our home, it means we don't care about those who are coming after us.
Environmental activist Nnimmo Bassey joining us via Zoom from Port Harcourt. Thank you very much for your contributions, and we wish you well as you pursue this work of environmental restoration in Nigeria and beyond.